Good morning, this is Miss Webb, and I'm going to try this video for like my third time. I just want to go over a review of how to graph a line. So we're going to talk about how to graph it if it's in slope-intercept form, how to graph it if it's in standard form, and then how to convert an equation to slope-intercept form. I'm going to go pretty fast because I know you can pause this at any time and go back and take notes and write down what you need. Okay, the slope-intercept form of a linear equation, it has to look like this. And let me get my pen going here. It has to look like that, where y is all by itself. Okay, the other thing, so I want to tell you about when some in slope-intercept form. The y-intercept is right here. It's a constant. If you put in a 0 for x, this would become 0 and it tells you what y is. So it's like you're setting x to be 0 and then it gives you your y-intercept. Okay, the m, that's the coefficient that's in front of x, is your slope. And your slope is a change in y over your change in x. If it's positive, it's up. If it's negative, you're going down. Change in x. If it's positive, you're going right. If it's negative, you're going left. And I'm going to show that to you. Okay, so when you have it in this form, what's really nice is you don't have to do any work and you can go pick off the slope and pick off that point of the y-intercept. So on this example here, my slope is the coefficient in front of x. So my slope is 3. My y-intercept, if I set x equal to 0, what's left over? It is a 5. So I have a 0.5. Okay, this one down here, my slope is the coefficient in front of x, and notice it's negative. It's going to be a -2. And my y-intercept, it also is a -2 because that negative belongs with this 2. If I set x equal to 0, y would be equal to -2. Now my slope is -2 over 1. I could always put it over 1, and I'm going to go down by 2 because it's negative. But the 1 is positive, and it would be right by 1. My slope on this last one, my slope is 1/2. My y-intercept, there's nothing there. It's a 0. So I have the point 0, 0. My slope is 1 over 2. That means from this point, I would go up by 1 to the right by 2. Okay, let's go try a couple of them. Okay, so when I want to graph it, I'm going to look at this one and I'm going to say, okay, my first step, what's the slope? I know the slope is 3. I'm going to put 3 over 1. That means I'm going to go up by 3, right by 1. But when am I going to do that? I'm going to do, I have this point here, which is 0, 1. From the point 0, 1, I'm going to go up by 3 and to the right by 1 to get another point. 0, 1, I plot that one. Now I'm going to count up by 3 from this point. 1, 2, 3, to the right by 1. Now I have 2 points. I can get my straight edge out and draw my line. Let's try this one here. My slope is the coefficient in front of x. So I'm going to write my slope as -1, and I'm going to put it over a positive 1. That means I'm going to go down by 1, and I'm going to go to the right by 1. Where am I going to start? I'm going to start at this point right here. Notice the negative goes with the 2, so I have this point 0, -2. I go plot it. 0, -2. I now go down by 1, but I go to the right by 1. That's my second point on the line. And I can graph my line. Over here, I look at it, I have a slope of 1 over 2. That means I'm going to go up by 1, right by 2. Whoop, my pen is all excited. Okay, let me go get rid of that. Let me go see if it'll let me get rid of that. There we go. Okay, so let me go back to my pen. And I have a slope of 1/2. That means up by 1, right by 2, because they're both positive. I have a point here. It's a positive 3. There's a point 0, 3. So I go plot it first. 0, 3. And now from that point, I'm going to go up 1 and to the right by 2. I now have my line. Okay, now standard form of linear equation. That is what I call the pretty form. Looks like this. You have 2x plus 3y equals 12. And the easiest way, I think, to graph this one is to find your two x and y intercepts. If you set y equal to 0, so I take the equation, I go put a 0 in for y right here. Okay, then I solve for x. 4x plus 0 is equal to 8, so I got 4x equals 8. I divide by 4 on both sides, and I get x is equal to 8 divided by 4, which is 2. So I have the point x is 2 and y is 0. Then I'm going to set x equal to 0. So I go to my equation and I set x equal to 0. I get 0 plus 2y equals 8. Then I want to get y. I want to solve for y. So I divide by 2 on both sides. And I have y is equal to 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now I have the point. I set x equal to 0 and I have y is equal to 4. I now have 2 points and I can graph the line. If I come over here, I have 0, 4, x is 0, y is 4, x is 2, y is 0. I have my 2 points, take my straight edge out, and I have my line. Now, if you don't like to do that for standard form, you can convert something in standard form to slope-intercept form. To do that, remember it has to be in this form. The goal is to get y all by itself. So if I have 4x plus 2y equals 8, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to get rid of the 4x by subtracting 4x from both sides. Right now it's being added. I'm going to do the opposite and I'm going to subtract it from both sides, and I get 2y is equal to 8 minus 4x. Now here's the part that everyone gets a little confused about. You have to divide the whole thing by 2. You say 2y divided by 2. You are multiplying 2 by y. The opposite of multiplication is division. Divide by 2 and you got y by itself. But that means you have to divide this whole thing over here by 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. And negative 4 divided by 2 gives me a negative 2x. Okay, so make sure you do that. If you divide by 2 to get y all by itself, you have to divide the whole side by 2, not just 8 or 4x. Now when I'm here, I want to, and that's how I simplified it, I want to rearrange it because I would like my x in the front. Well, right now this is a positive 4. This is a negative 2x. If I want to rearrange it, I'm going to bring the negative 2x to the front and the 4 in the back. Now I know my slope is negative 2. That would be down by 2, but to the right by 1 because the 1 is positive. My y-intercept is at 0, 4. So if I was going to graph that, I would first plot my y-intercept at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And from there, I would go down by 2 to the right by 1 and get my second point. And that's how you would graph the line. Okay, you guys, good luck.